we have Kai's surgery. And I want to talk a little bit about Kai's surgery. And then I also want to talk about this conversation that's really around Trina's story and what Trina got
Mhm.
going on. So obviously, we have Drew like saying he's going to pay for Kai, connecting Kai with his surgeon. In the midst of all of the drama at Drew at the Drillo house, Kai comes over to say he's ready to meet with the doctor. Trina talks to Portia and is like, here are all the reasons that I don't think this is a good idea. Portia basically tells Kai that it's not a good idea. And Kai is like, I'm gonna do it anyway. And Trina, I want you to like be by my side to like support me. So that's where we are. But Trina's story is just Kai. I don't know. How are you feeling about how this? How are you feeling about this?
I mean, I think we've talked about this over and over and over again. It's just not a good idea. Trina needs more than that. And unfortunately, the writers aren't listening to us. So right now, I mean, that's what we're getting. And we have outlined many different stories that Trina could have had, like we did last week. And yet, it's still the same. So, I mean, I don't think I have more to say than what was already been said. We need Trina to have her own life. We need Trina to have her own story. Um, because even, I don't like we're not yet invested in Kai to believe that this is good, like we should care a lot about what's gonna happen to him. In the sense that I don't even think he's a permanent fixture on GH. I think anything can happen. He could have the
Right.
surgery and it go bad and he just walks away from the show and then that's it. Or he could have the surgery and it goes well and he goes on to play football and walks away from the show. Either way, I don't see him as a long-term character. And
Mm,
so Trina has been on the show for a long time. She is a long-term character, so she deserves a long-term story. And
right.
so, you know, that's all I feel. I don't
Mm,
feel like there's anything more to say except, we gotta continue to watch this humdrum storyline that she's in and
hmm.
just be like mad. you know I mean, I don't like
Yeah.
they're not listening to the fans at all when it
And I
comes to
think
Trina.
and I think that it's like it's tough, right? Because I think that when it comes to like listening to the fans, you
Right.
actually never know what like
Hmm.
what fans to listen to. And so for me, I'm always like write a good story. Fans are gonna
Hmm.
like it or dislike it. You're gonna, but at the end of the day, you have to write a good character driven story
Right.
because, and I've been talking about this forever, which is Trina doesn't get a good story if her family doesn't get a good story.
Hmm.
And so right now, Curtis and Portia are barely together. We have more scenes with Curtis and Jordan, and uh, Portia is not doing anything likable. If you go back and you look at, so GH posted like a video, like from the anniversary video. Did you watch it? It was on their like
Yeah.
YouTube and stuff, or not YouTube, but their Twitter and their Instagram. And
Yeah.
so Donnell said he wanted Curtis to have a baby, which I was like, okay, Donnell. And
Yeah.
then Brooke was like, yeah, so much of if you go back and watch it, she was like really clear. She's like,
Hmm.
so much of what we see Portia do is all about Trina. Let's give Portia some other motivation. And
Yep.
so for me, I think, and I've been saying, I'm going to continue to say it. It is so easy to disappear Black characters when they are not rooted.
Hmm.
It's one of the reasons that I really wanted for them to have Trina remain Taggart's daughter. And even like in a show that we know blood doesn't really matter when it comes to family because TJ's not blood, speaking of somebody who got disappeared to like the Ashfords, but like
Hmm.
they still love him, he's still family to them.
Hmm.
We could have if Trina was still if Trina they still respected Trina as Taggart's daughter, they could have pulled on the lineage of Taggart having a problem with Trina being with Spencer, just like he had a problem with Gia being with Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
That never even came up in the relationship for Springer ever. It never came up. It was
Mm-hmm.
not. I went back. I was like, it's never been mentioned. And so if you think about like Liz and Lucky, for example, that one of my favorite scenes since he's been back is him playing the guitar and then like
Mm-hmm.
them splicing in him singing the song to now. Like that history is what roots people to the show. And so Trina, like, not only does her family not have a story, she does like her story is a new character that people are not invested in. It's not even a character that people had investment in. Because I think if it was something like she had this story with like a Cameron, for example, who is like rooted in the show and important and all of that, and not Spencer, people would feel less of a way about it. I think it's perfectly valid that people are like, "What is this?" And it actually then sets up Trina and Kai for failure because there is some bitterness of like, why is this her story?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that bitterness is valid.
Speaking of
Mm-hmm.
Taggart, noticed this morning that there's some, social media chatter, or at least Twitter chatter, saying
Okay.
that Taggart is not Legacy because he's not one of the 1963 family members. And I was
Okay.
like, I'm like, no, he's been on the show for a long time. He's been on the show a lot longer than some of these new characters, and yet they're saying he's not Legacy. He could be a stronger Legacy character if GH gave him that respect that he deserved. Like they
Right.
should not have kicked him out of the show. They let
Right.
him hang. His strong, like some of the strongest scenes he's ever had were on those last few days at him turning towards alcohol after hearing devastating news that Trina wasn't his daughter. That man, Real Andrews, deserved so much better than he got. And if he
Mm-hmm.
got it, he would definitely have been considered a strong legacy character. And
I
so
mean,
I
it's
don't like that
yeah.
disrespect. It's disrespectful, but it's not their fault that it's disrespectful because it's the writer's fault and the producer's fault. Um, because
No, I
they
think it's
disrespected
everybody's
him
fault. I
first.
think people saying it's their fault too. Because the other
Yeah.
thing is like, it's clear like legacy is not about being there from the beginning, but it is about, like I said, having roots in the show. And
Right.
so the
But they're saying he
reason
doesn't have roots either because he's not even from Port Charles, like he's from Bensonhurst or something. I'm like,
whatever. The reason that they made Trina Taggart's
right.
daughter in the first place is so that she could have a tie to the history of the show.
Hmm.
Because Trina came in and we didn't know who her father was. We didn't know who her parents were.
Right.
So the Taggart piece was so that she would have the tie in. Otherwise, she would have been no one's daughter.
Right.
No, or no one who's on screen, similar to what we're doing with Kai. So,
And his
yeah.
like we still don't know who Kai is.
Where's your
We
mama
don't
now?
have his where's his parents? He's making life altering decisions and no family member is there supporting him. It's crazy.
And even the conversation with Portia, she didn't really ask about his family. She's like telling him you could. First of all, there's been more instances of this surgery not working than working.
Hmm.
You could end up paralyzed from this surgery. Where is your mama now? Like Portia, you would have a fit if Trina made this decision without you.
Hmm.
So why is nobody saying let's get your mama up in here?
I mean, she asked, I think she asked briefly, like, what did your mom say or what did your parents say? And he's like, I haven't said anything to them or something like that. I'm like, she shouldn't have left it at that.
No,
She should not have.
yeah,
Um, yeah. And even well, Drew's not a good person, but if Drew was even pretending to be a good person, could have said, hey, what do your parents think? None of these
hmm
people care that he's out here making this decision on his own.
hmm
That's crazy.
yeah, Mm-mm. It's yeah. It's not a good story. It also was just like we are not invested in football. There's no investment. Like nobody cares about any of this. Like
Mhm.
it just wasn't anything that was like moving to anyone.
And ABC didn't have like some sort of contract with NFL, or they weren't even doing any kind of sports entertainment, were they? Because I'm just trying to understand why they were talking about football, of all things.
And it's not as if like Mac was a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right, yeah.
getting somebody connected to the PCP, no, the PU football team who we know, who would then have a relationship with Kai outside of Trina, and like had us, I guess, more invested in PU football. Like none of that happened. It's just vibes, and the vibes are bad.
Mm,
Anyway,
mm,
Trina needs more of a story, like we said. It's it's particularly frustrating because they are moving her away from her peer group. So we have Emma and Joss, who we talk about now, like
hmm
embarking on whatever storyline they're embarking on. And if you notice, Emma has the whatever story she's doing with like the spy stuff, and then she has this connection to Anna and Felicia. This is what happens when you have like strong family background. When you see Emma walking into the hospital and even saying, "Oh, yeah, it's fine. I grew up here." That's history and legacy for the character. So we have these two legacy characters like kind of embarking on a story, and Trina is not in it.
hmm
So they're pushing forward with this story, whereas Trina is getting left behind in a story that we really do not care about, with a character that we don't know, where she's essentially sidekicking for him. Yikes.